Not much LPL left, ladies and gentlemen. We're in week 10, in the heart of it for day number 2. And we return once again here into Shanghai as Rogue Warriors and BLG look to kick off the day. A day that I've been waiting for a while to put another team in playoffs or continue the journey for the case of Rogue Warriors. As we take a closer look here in Shanghai, we get an inside look into Rogue Warriors. There has been a lot coming into this team for summer with Holder, with Haro, Yan as well, coming back into the jungle. The change-ups that we thought would propel them to a playoff team hasn't been the case. And now today, looking to have one of their final matchups to propel them forward against BLG. And with a quick look at XinMo and ADD there before, calls this team Kuro, who has been absolutely amazing, and that is some good bottom lane synergy. Welcome back to the LPL. My name's Asterix and Raz, and man, Jinjiao and XinMo looking close.
Yeah, we saw some behind-the-scenes footage for quite some time of it. It was mostly just, Jinjiao looking at his phone and being slightly annoyed at XinMo right next to him.
Yeah.
Every time XinMo was doing something, I don't know what he was doing, maybe stretching, and it was just like, please stop.
For a very long time, yeah. So still synergy there, good for the bottom lane as we return back to the LPL. And we have to get everyone back up to speed as we normally do. When you and I sit down, we talk about standings all the damn time.
Yes, we do.
But this time, it's even more important with 3 teams already locked in, and today, we get some more answers on the board.
Yes, one for certain. We'll get into it a little later, but I'm a little concerned for one team and one team alone.
Who's that?
LNG.
I agree.
They're not moving.
Yes.
4 losses in a row. Just series losses starting us really hurt last time around. Going up against Victory 5, they were expected to take that victory, and currently they are tied in terms of sets with Team WE, only have that 1-point differential, and Team WE has a far easier match record going forward. And you heard it from CA, Mr. Birthday Man himself. His birthday wish is going to be making it into playoffs. It seems like a very likely story.
Looking very likely with teams like IG as well failing in the past against our team today of BLG. There are so many spots to be taken. There's so much unsolidified here in the LPL, and our first matchup might do exactly that with BLG and Rogue Warriors.
Yep, you said the lucky number of this split was 9.
I did.
BLG is certainly very close to being able to achieve that. If they take this win versus Rogue Warriors, they are locked into playoffs.
And then later, I'm actually excited to see DMO continue their run. They've had a win streak, and going up against RNG, wouldn't that just solidify it?
It's crazy to be able to take a step back, look at Dominus's current success, and say that they are really on that road to that miracle run of playoffs. One thing to take note of, they're going up against RNG.
That's true.
And RNG is going to be using them as a test dummy because later on,
say it, Raz, do it.
They have a match of the week going up against Invictus Gamiones.
I don't care that IG haven't been performing. This is still a testament to some of the 2 best teams in the LPL, and IG always play up in this matchup.
Yeah, and some of this is the best players in the world at the moment. Jackie Love, Straven, I love that it's being shown here going up against, Uzi in the bot side of the map. I know I see a Vayne. I just want to be able to see Uzi perform in that one because they're funny enough, both these teams' most recent performances have been failures. They definitely want to be able to take the first step forward.
That's coming up this Saturday, this weekend, IG and RNG. We get it in week 10 towards the end of the split, and while we are escalating towards the end, there are so many games to be played, like BLG and DMO to kick off the day. And we said about BLG, this is the series. This is the one they can look back on and lock in playoffs.
It's going to be fun because, look, at the end of the day, there could be a lot of fandangling with just the points differential, but if you hit 9 wins, just 9 series wins, that's it. You're locked into the playoffs, and BLG are that close to being able to accomplish that. Now, of course, they're probably looking past this. I think that's a little bit of a danger of looking past the current opponents, but the reason why they would be doing that is because they're not thinking about just making it into the playoffs. They want to be thinking about the seedings, and they're so damn close into be able to secure a very high seeding, noting that they took down Invictus Gaming, so they have the head-to-head on that one. They probably have the series wins on that one, and being able to look at how they were able to accomplish that versus IG starts with Meteor.
Yeah, Meteor tore apart Invictus Gaming in this series. Game 1 and Game 3, the best I've ever seen him play.
Meteor slapped. And that's literally the entire series. I think Game 2 is far better from Ning, as he was able to, skyrocket the Shy ahead. But Meteor was very consistent. We said this about him in his debut split and spring split. Already turning out to be, in my mind, a top 2 jungler in the split. Number 1 in my mind would be Karsa. And then talking about the second best, I know a lot of people have been thinking about him, and Ning comes to mind, but Ning certainly doesn't have that level of consistency.
I always mention like Tien and some of the other junglers rising to fame.
And so him versus Tien, in my mind, is a great matchup, and I want to be able to see that. I think that currently Meteor is showcasing that level of performance.
Yeah.
That he is a top 2, that he's consistent for the team, and that BLG, a team that actually just during the entire year tend to slow it down.
Yes.
He matched that slow pace and became that bridge in the early portion of the game. And then now that they're finding new fangs in the early portion of the game, he is that person making action happen.
Yeah, I know there was a lot of concerns for me personally when ADD, Kuro come onto a team, and then you have Meteor, the rookie jungler of 2019, trying to fit into that. Didn't seem like an issue.
So for me, watching his performance in the LDL with Triumph and Song, I knew that he could play within a strong system because that was one of the smarter teams down there. But then coming into it, a lot of it comes down to, does he have the nerves? Like, is he nervous when he comes into his first game? And remember, his first game in the spring split was an MVP performance that he was able to get for himself. And then that road that he's had from spring to summer has been a very consistent one. For this team, it's a little bit sad that they didn't get the playoffs in spring split.
I mean, they finished on 8, remember? They finished on 8 and 7, 9th place. And it was a series against IG that I found was the one that held them back, the base race. That they got revenge for last time around. So BLG already close to finishing off better than they were.
So with all of the puzzle pieces working together, it's the captain that you look towards.
We know who the captain is.
Yes, show his face. Kuro came in strong in spring split, worked incredibly well during the summer split, and while in the champion pool you see the most played being like the Corki and Azir because that's literally everyone's champion pool, he has made a monumental playstyle shift in his game. In the LCKs came out with a lot of control mages as you would usually see, but during the spring split, man, he came out with the Akalis. He's been coming out with the LeBlancs. Exactly, he's been a great assassin player. And then in the summer split, he was the first one to come up and roll in with the Kiana. And so the team's early game play actually runs through Kuro. And a lot of people internationally tend to kind of give disrespect to Kuro's name because when he comes into international performances, they don't look too good. But during the regular season, during the playoffs, he has been standout. And so I want to see if BLG can solidify that, but they have to be able to get past the wall of Rogue Warriors right now. Seeing the roster, Holder up in the top lane, Haro starting this time around in the jungle, HuaTian in the mid lane, and ZWuJi and Killua in the bottom side of the map.
Oh, we got Huanggai actually here today, right? We got Old Man. I know he blends into the background, but this is going to be a desperate day for Rogue Warriors to continue their run.
Yeah, so let's just say best case scenario for Rogue Warriors, they can end with 8 wins, so that's great for them, and series wins. But realistically, they have some tough competitors ahead of them, and matches going forward is going to be difficult. This is the first real challenge, though, going up against BLG, ADD in the top lane, Meteor in the jungle, Kuro in the mid lane, and rounding out the bottom side of the map is Jinjiao and XinMo.
And Jinjiao and XinMo had a great game 3 against IG as well. The classic Ezreal for that AD carry just looks crisp, and at this point for BLG, you say, yes, what is stopping them in Rogue Warriors? They still need to look at the matchup, take it serious, because like I said, Rogue Warriors are looking desperate.
Yeah, let's talk about Rogue Warriors a little bit, because, having a highlight on BLG is all good and nice, but, Rogue Warriors are a team that is starting to surprise. They're starting to have great games, in terms of recent results.
Yeah.
Rogue Warriors have been a top lane center team. While ZWuJi and Killua, or ZWuJi, or in this case Huanggai, have been wonderful in the late portions of the game, early game is still dictated by Haro being able to get Holder ahead.
Yes.
And consistently he was able to accomplish that versus Victory 5. And while that was nice, they still weren't able to come out with a series victory. I still want to be able to see, Holder being able to get those leads, whether it would be on the Renekton or the Camille's, and then being able to bleed that across the map. Against BLG, they'll try their best to contain that.
Yeah, especially when for Rogue Warriors in the past, you look at Spring and how they were able to play. Well, they didn't have that strong top side.
Yes.
They didn't have the strong jungle. In fact, their jungle was the weakest in the league. And now with that stability to play through that top side, it does make ZWuJi look better and better.
Yeah, he looks far better, and I think one great comfort that hasn't been discussed so far is that he doesn't feel like he needs to play early game AD anymore. He doesn't have to go into like the Kallistas and Lucians far more often, so this time around he's actually playing a lot for Late game, the Kaisas come to mind. Xayah to a certain degree. I mean, in general, he wants to be able to scale and get out of the laning phase. My only concern with RW is the fact that they're drafting far too often is focused on all these lanes scaling and essentially getting shoved in. They need some semblance of an early game lead. And so that's why when I said the Camille pick being the one for Holder, it's more of a look towards the bot side of the map. We're going to be hearing from Jinjiao.
然后打 RW 的话，因为大勇教练之前带过我，然后我也比较想证明一下，我现在变得更强一点了，就是希望我们还是能赢下 RW。
Optimistic towards playoffs for Jinjiao and getting a quick look because, like I said in last series, he played so damn well, and it's the Ezreal that I mentioned that has been his highlight.
I love the fact that they showcased, you know, Death's at 15.
Yeah.
He's as in, like, that's incredibly low
so
to be looking
low.
at 0.3. He just doesn't die. He has an incredibly safe laning phase, and he's incredibly impactful during team fights. I love the fact that he mentioned that, you know, Kesman was a former coach of his. In fact, Kesman was a former coach of, you know, Aimee that made it to Worlds, and that Jinjiao was a part of. If you look at BLG's roster in its entirety right now, Jinjiao is the only man standing from that roster. It's pretty crazy to be able to say that with how large of a change that, you know, the team and organization has had.
And it was only in spring when we started talking him up more as an AD carry. I think in the past, overlooked heavily when you have talents like Uzi, Jackie Love coming out of the scene, and all these highlighted stars that you look over Jinjiao and he wasn't on our list, but suddenly in 2019 spring, there were those highlight performances, there were those clean plays that suddenly put him back up there.
Well, he hasn't changed stylistically since the very beginning, and I think that's something to take note of. His style is probably the least loved style in League of Legends, which is, I am not a laning phase player. I'm going to show up in team fights, and usually in team fights, he's not going to be someone that you take a look at. You look at mostly players who dive straight into the thick of things, which is a ZWuJi style, funny enough, with his Kai'Sa. And you look towards other players that tend to, like, overall, yes, that's our fabulous faces, as you can see, as we morphed into these ugly shells.
It happened.
But I wanted to make point of the fact that, you know, as a player, he has remained the same. It's more so his style has gotten much more cleaner. And you're right, just based off the stats that we were able to showcase, in team fights, he's far more protected. His positioning is also consistently strong. He's an AD carry that you actually have to give more credence and respect towards. That's just going to be the fact. And I think that, to your point, he's becoming one of our strongest ADs.
Yeah.
When Aimee went to Worlds, he wasn't even considered like a top 3 AD carry at that time, because people will always be looking to the more flashier players of, you know, the Mystics, the you know, Uzis of the world. But remember, at that time, he was the one that overtook Mystic at that tournament. And so, especially these days, I want to be able to see if that consistency can take them into playoffs and what that will have. Well, what will that turn into during a best 5?
Because right now, when we saw Jinjiao on screen just before, he's talking about playoffs, how he's going into this matchup, looking at Rogue Warriors, but they're also looking into the future. I just want to quickly touch on what BLG have to look ahead to. I know we'll have a later discussion about this, but LGD, RNG, there is a big possibility that BLG could solidify themselves in top 4 with that final match. And the way they're going, it would be such a good recovery.
And just so people actually know what these placements could mean, especially in the playoff formats we usually see in the LPL, is that top 2 placements puts you into the semifinals.
That's right.
Top 4, which is the 2 placements just before that, if you are in 3rd and 4th place, boom, you're in quarterfinals. Like, that means so much that you don't have to play that extra best of 5, because a good example is like an EDG that lost in first round, or an RNG that finally went into the 2nd round and lost right immediately to JD. So having that extra bit of time helps you so much. The reason why I made EDG the horror story is because they made it to playoffs. They didn't get any circuit points.
Yeah.
So the fact that you don't get championship points based off that performance means that you better take a lot of, you better take regular season a lot more seriously and play that consistent game so you can make it as far as humanly possible.
Because BLG need to do that. Both these teams do not have circuit points. Both these teams looking for playoffs. We haven't talked much about Rogue Warriors, of course, in passing, but 4 and 7, difficult scoreline to come back from. They have 3 series including this left, 4 including this with WeVG IG to finish on as well. And it's not impossible for Rogue Warriors.
That's why, I mean, it's not even close to being impossible. It's very, very possible that they can make that run, but their story is yet to be told, honestly. because at this point, with 4 series left to go, very few teams are put in that situation with like the bulk of the games that matter are in the final
in a
weeks.
week and a half, right?
Exactly. And so for Rogue Warriors, they're in such a good position in my mind. I mean, the difficulties of the matches is something else. It's another topic entirely.
That's true.
But it's more so the fact that if they win those matches, suddenly they're actually straight into the 6th place or 5th place. Like, that's the discussion you're having.
And a discussion that goes further into LNG and where WE fit and how the puzzle puts together.
In my mind, and for the people out there who are trying to kind of gauge how to be able to take the whole race to 8th place with RW, Team WE, and Dominus, I mean NJD to a certain degree. It's that, you mean Team WE have the easiest matches ahead, but they only have 2 matches.
That's true.
Where Rogue Warriors have some harder matches, but they have 4 damn matches, and that can change the entire discussion.
They have some of the most matches left alongside teams like RNG. I think FBX have 3 there as well. So it's important that the audience knows what the meaning of this matchup is and how Rogue Warriors could fit in.
So let's just talk about a little bit, because if we're just talking about the difficulty of matches, just to be able to give people clarity of what Rogue Warriors' next few matches are going to be, the next one after this one is literally going to be Team WE, and that's going to be an incredibly important matchup to be able to secure like RW's place a little bit more. And then the next one is BG Gaming. They're expected to take that one. The last set they have at the split is Invictus Gaming.
Yeah.
And so you never know what, will look like, how the end of the split will look for this team. Remember, in Spring Split, they took down RNG in 2 games with a far worse roster.
Oh, the roster was so different, yeah.
You say different, I say different for a different, like I say it was just bad. So you never know how it's going to turn out, and this team can just propel themselves into playoff contenders.
Because for Rogue Warriors, the identity shifted, they've changed around. Coming into summer, they've been a team that I hyped up because of Haro and Holder, as you mentioned, the top side of the map. That's where I'll be looking here as well, and that's where, ladies and gentlemen, I direct your eyes. Going into ADD, who has just been such an outstanding player in the last couple of series and across the split. Let's see how they develop going into Game 1 and see if BLG can lock in their playoff spot.
Coach Sim don't seem to be happy. Look at his face.
He waited long enough.
That's just his game face.
Okay. Bringing full capacity coming into this one now. I like the bans I see already going into Game 1, Raz. No Corky means no worries from me.
All right, no Silas too. I love the fact that Silas is starting to be banned. I think it's just such a strong pick that can be flexed into the lane position, so makes a lot of sense here.
Both our junglers do play the Silas heavily as well, so away from Meteor as first pick. We've seen this quite a lot recently. The Tahm Kench is a no-brainer.
Very strong, champion. The kit's still there. The fact that you can protect your AD in lane, in team fights, it works well for himself. Also just good mid-game to be able to just drop ship your team into the side lane. And so while it's a very hot topic champion at this stage in this moment in time, people still think that he's not a strong support. I definitely agree, think that in lane he's good, out of lane he's great. He just has a very core vulnerability in being just bursted out, which is why I like the Gragas pick from BLG.
Covers so many aspects. So for Meteor, jumping back on this champion again after the Game 1 showing from Meteor is exceptional. This Gragas run amok, and we're going to see it again, but Rogue Warriors shifting already here to start things off.
Imagine a second rotation of Jinx.
Take a sip.
They're laughing about it. They have just locked in Tahm Kench, Jinx, and likely a ZWuJi. ZWuJi is such a strong pick. I'm surprised it wasn't their first go at it, but I guess they'll go towards the Jarvan. Their team composition on the first phase of just giving you the entire goal that this team has.
There it is, right? Okay.
Let's fight.
Yeah.
Drop the gauntlet.
I mean, I wanted to see something innovative out of Rogue Warriors coming into this series, and that's a great way to start. But for BLG, maybe they have something in the back of their mind now. The safe pick in Braum is the go-to, and XinMo jumping on something that can go into the Tahm Kench.
The Braum just makes a lot of sense here, just to be able to deal with Jinx's later team fight damage that she can throw at you. I mean, if we're just talking about the Super Mega Death Rocket, we're going to have to get a lot better out of that one. Definitely happy this is the game that I'm not going to be play-by-play for.
Yes.
Good luck.
Thank you very much, sir. Good to be back, Camille. Good to be the next ban in the second phase. And what's going to come first? The Gangplank away from ADD. Now, this guy has played so much Gangplank, so I respect the ban out of Rogue Warriors.
All right, makes a lot of sense there. ADD, in an interview, did talk about, especially after the last series he had, that he's not the type of top laner to be able to that wants to pick the Lucian. He wants to pick a counter into Lucian.
Oh, okay.
Which, I mean, if you're just following ADD's history, he's always been somebody that hunts for counter picks rather than just outright picking the stronger laning matchup.
Yeah.
So GP is a great ban against him. He's just a powerful GP player. Want to see what he goes towards.
Well, Kuro loses a 0 as well, so we've got a couple of lanes
Oh,
we have to watch
lock
out
it in for Kuro. Kuro is such a great Yasuo player,
He
too.
is. We haven't seen much Gragas Yasuo. The combination hasn't come through as much as it has in other regions, so...
He's going up against a team that's known for their Gragas Yasuo. So
Yeah.
HuaTian's Yasuo has been strong. People have been banning that away from Rogue Warriors. I just want to see it out of BLG.
You get the Kennen instead, so I'm sorry. Looking towards the top lane here, BLG will save their mid for the final counter pick. And now for Rogue Warriors, what do they consider safe, or do they want to go all out?
Well, if I'm looking towards top lane, I think we're going to be going towards an all-in type A of Bruiser. Maybe even throw the Jarvan into the top lane. I know that's not going to be the thing that they go for usually. It's an LEC type of branding, but Aatrox makes a equal amount of sense. Just expect J4 and Aatrox to be ganking up that top lane so Kennen feels uncomfortable.
It's that win condition we were talking about. Top side for Rogue Warriors set up. How does the mid come in with these wombos already coming through? HuaTian has played too much Neeko to count.
Just lock it in. It's just such a safe pick that'll give you wave clear. They need to pick a safe one just because they're not sure what BLG is going to roll in mid lane. And we talked about Assassins being the go-to for Kuro in the spring split. This time around, looking at the composition, there's actually quite a bit of burst if we're talking about what Varus is able to provide with an Empower Q. He's just going to sit and think about it for the 14 seconds that he has, just kind of barking out orders to XinMo and what he wants to play here.
I mean, you got versatility and damage already for BLG, so what's going to be the strongest? The Irelia makes a lot more sense.
So AP is being locked in from the Gragas, so they have some leeway to throw in an AD mid.
Yep.
It's a lot of good dive prospects here as well. If you're just thinking about how Rogue Warriors composition is going to be working through thick team fights, you know, protection of Jinx is at the utmost priority, which is why I like the Irelia to be able to send down the ultimate at the Tahm Kench. Even if he was able to gulp her up, you are still having the ability to just dive straight through with your Qs. So just thinking about how the team fight could work, I think BLG has good dive within the composition, good flank if we're talking about what the Kennen can provide, and just the Irelia pick alone actually allows the Kennen to go AP.
Yeah.
So I think initially if it was an AP mid lane, it would force the Kennen towards the AD build, or make it so the composition is incredibly easy to build against.
Feels like a very different style of composition though from BLG. We expect the Azirs, the Corkies, that 30-40 minute window that BLG exploits so nicely. Here it's a lot more minute, a lot more small differences that BLG have opted in for in game one.
I just think I'm a lot more of a fan of the composition that BLG have. I think it's a lot more safe to run.
Yep.
I think there's an answer towards the Tahm Kench pretty easily. Not only the Irelia that can essentially stick on the target that the Tahm Kench is trying to save, but also just the Gragas cast to be able to make it harder for Tahm Kench to get away even when he has someone in the stomach. Or he himself is going to be the sacrificial lamb. So in the larger team fights, in that scope, BLG has a very strong answer.
Because if you have an answer to Tahm Kench, essentially you have an answer to the Jinx. You get into a late game fight, and how will ZWuJi control it?
They just can't make mistakes very obviously because that's what the Jinx is trying to hunt for.
Yeah.
So think about it this way. The two carries of Rogue Warriors, the greatest focus here. I want to see how the Jinx can snowball.
A unique pick here for Rogue Warriors in game one. Their playoff journey's not over yet. But what I'm taking away from this is BLG win this series. They lock in playoffs. And they recoup from spring. Now we're in Shanghai, of course, so there's no home arena for Rogue Warriors or BLG, but the fans out in support here today. Meteor's father was actually there in the IG series, Raz.
There we go.
In full support, came up onto the stage after for the post-game interviews. So good to see the support.
Something I was interested in coming into the game is just whether the Varus was going to be focusing purely on the laning phase if he was going to be going comment and lethality rather than the lethal tempo build. He is still going lethal tempo, so the composition BLG has still has a lot of safe front-to-back team fighting that they can look towards.
But press the attack Kennen. So there we go. Already on hit begins. So in the top lane going up against the Aatrox.
Wow.
That's a choice, but ZWuJi in the mid lane, I think that's more important.
Thank God.
No, it's not. It's fake.
My mind, whenever there's a whenever there's a Neeko in the game, I just lose it.
I struggled when it was BLG IG because I was just like, oh, Ning's everywhere, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, it's super rough. So okay, I'll take it back. It's not the Jinx in mid, but Haro making his way up. This is the start of vertical jungling, and the start where Meteor's down towards the bottom side will be spotted out by a ward.
Very safe. I like this. Oftentimes in the LPL, you don't get much of a good idea what happens pre-50 seconds, so you don't know what the initial invades usually get. The first invade, I assume, got a pretty good ward on the Raptor camp. At the end of the day, J4 got the information that the Gragas was not topside, and he was able to go in for good split on sides. I'm actually pretty interested that the Gragas is going to go for his Raptors anyways, so he's going to try and still pat topside, mostly looking towards top lane to see if Kennen needs a hand.
But good ward here from BLG to spot him out towards the blue buff. Knows he's pathing downward towards Wolves, and Meteor still towards the top side. Has an in with no vision control from Rogue Warrior's top lane.
I think it's smart for Meteor to be up top side early on in this game. Even if he ends up just basing here to be able to get boots for himself since he's Predator, he just needs to be topside just in case the Kennen needs a hand. A lot of the times, especially for Rogue Warriors, when they pick the likes of Camille into some of these bad matchups, they just pick to look for all-ins. They just pick to try and get a gank up topside, and so having your jungler up top to be able to protect him early on, even if he's being shoved in on, is a good call. But at least this answers our question about what Kennen this was going to be. Press the attack, so he's going to be AD Kennen.
Of course.
Interesting. I thought that he was going to be an AP just because he has a fairly heavy AD composition with the Irelia and the Varus.
Yep.
But, I mean, I guess that's just going to mean that Gragas plays a larger role.
He's set up once again to be the AP threat. And he's done it once before. Why can't he do it again? Meteor, the rookie jungler here in 2019. Now heading towards the bottom side, but satted out by a small ward. Control will get rid of it while Meteor continues down.
I'm a little bit more worried for mid lane, because if you're looking at the mid lane wave, it's so easy for the Gragas to find a way in and being able to get a gank on towards HuaTian, especially since he has boost for Predators. So a lot to be worried about for HuaTian here. I want to see where the Gragas is aiming for. Please
Really
get
nice
a camera
spot
on him.
Yeah, really nice spot here, Raz. Predator's procced. He's in the back end of the wave.
Oh, no.
Hits Raptors with the barrel. That means he doesn't have the damage or the level over Haro.
All right, I guess that answers it. And really well done from Haro to be passing towards just to be able to help out his mid laner, because the wave honestly still sucks.
Yep.
It's still bad for him. So he needs to be able to at least provide a helping hand so HuaTian can get a full shove. And that's a lot of the reasons why champions like Rumble, or in this case Neeko, kind of tend to struggle or call for far more jungle attention, is just because, especially when they're going up against an Irelia, they tend to basically put themselves in bad positions because of the wave.
Yeah. At least he's got the CS advantage for now, and with the spotting out of the jungle, HuaTian could safely push up. It's going to be Kuro backing away with teleport in hand, but that 15 now in hand.
Yeah, I mean, look, even with the just because of that protection from Haro, that CS advantage that HuaTian now has is pretty damn good.
Yeah.
That's what you're going to the bank with. So really well done from Rogue Warriors in this game, because it definitely changes that storyline for them. How consistently they play towards such late game factors and losing out in lanes early on. This time around, different note, HuaTian's coming in strong.
We've been able to fight towards the top side as well. Bottom side's doing the same here for Rogue Warriors, so it's a steady start, one that I'd like to take our attention towards the top side, because the Electrocute Aatrox going into ADD. ADD's actually started losing out on some of these trades, and Holder a moment ago was at 1/4 of health. He's come back in this lane.
Yeah, I like the fact that ADD based and just TP'd right back to lane, because a lot of the trades are getting really sticky for that reason.
Yep.
The junglers were up top. J4 was actually looking for an invade just to be able to get some information on Gragas, because these lanes are starting to, scuffle. It's starting to get a little bit messy, and we all know what the goal of Meteor this time around is going to be able to go top lane, get something, a bit of an advantage there for Kennen. or as you saw earlier on, get positioning around HuaTian. Top side is super easy for him. It's actually the bottom lane that's difficult.
Yeah. Bottom lane's been more of a scuffle, to use your words. It's been one that's gone back and forth, one where Jinx now getting pushed under turret, but it's going to be okay for the Jinx for now. ADD still getting some better trades up here, but... Oh, wait. Actually, a very quiet landing phase here from Rogue Warriors. I'll say that for now, but ADD has ult. So we'll see.
So the early dragon is Ocean. Ultimately, I think at this stage, BLG is in a pretty comfortable spot to be able to try and aim for it, just through bot side alone. Varus and Braum is going to be a consistent winner for you. So it's smart from Haro and Huanggai to be able to at least contest for vision, because while Ocean Dragon is super valuable, just as you saw with Ning dying super early on in the last game, it's actually just also very risky to take.
Yeah.
It doesn't do more damage, but it definitely slows you down and makes it easier for the jungler to chase you on you. So it's one of those junglers that is those dragons that you don't want to be caught with your pants down taken.
Especially not if HuaTian comes in and aggroes it with the Tangle Blast. There's the double lockdown. We just talked about this. Meteor body bobs out the explosive cast with the pop blast. Is going to come down, hits him on the edge. Runner here avoids it with the Cataclysm as well. The flag and drag. Rogue Warriors apply first, and the Vanguard's edge doesn't hit, but the Chains of Corruption from Jinjiao on the back end as Kuro re-engages, pops up with press the attack, but the survivability as BLG get turned on once more. Tahm Kench the hero, and Rogue Warriors the victors.
Yeah, Huanggai deserves a medal for that one. And honestly, HuaTian for just coming in for the initial spook. You know, this chasing Meteor out there and the full collapse from his team. We're seeing it all in on the top side of the map.
This might actually be good for Holder. He's got the damage, he's got the sustainability, but at half health, running away is ADD, and we'll just disengage from there. Ult, not at the ready.
So, we just talked about this. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We went into this game saying, watch out for that damn Ocean Dragon. Both these teams have an eye for it. And so, it was Rogue Warriors that ultimately got the first jump. And Haro, you got to get... Oh, help.
We're doing it again. This time, Meteor reacting quickly. Holder flashes away, survives for now. Blast cone there and used by Rogue Warriors. Holder should have died, but he gets out with a slither of health.
This game's scary.
Yeah. It's really just stepped up a huge amount.
That's why when you're in the LPL and it's turning into a game about vision control, we commit into this vision.
Yeah.
It's a full committal. I love BLG just because when they place down wards, the hell yeah, they mean it. You about to kill a ward as it's basically killing a human life. Yeah, we out there for that mission.
They have the best vision control in the LPL right now. I think they rose to first after the last game with IG.
A lot of the times, vision control just comes down to the eye test, and I agree with you just based off the eye test alone. I think BLG is the type of team that can exert their will, can play a far slower game, and can support their lanes just based off of how XinMo and Meteor, essentially work together. This game's not a good example of that, though.
Trains down the bottom lane, but with vision in mind as well. Look at what happened after the Ocean Drake fight. There were wards dropped down. One just expired in the pit, but making sure that doesn't get taken here by Rogue Warriors in the early game. There's bot side priority to be aware of with Scuttlecrab up and available and that Dragon still standing by.
I'm still concerned now for Kuro. Not only just off his recent death, but also just the itemizing, the recipes being built by HuaTian. Secures him the early lane.
He's 30 CS down now as well.
And he has 4 stacks off his damn, his nice ring. So
yeah.
He's at a place
nice
where...
ring.
His nice ring. It's not that ugly ring. He's at a place right now where he's pretty much secured for the next 2 minutes. He can help out his team in trying to being able to get some vision towards Ocean Dragon. It's actually BLG that needs some help here.
World Ender once again. Are we just going to ult for ult? I feel like this could be the same, but Electric comes through this time and the flash is burnt. Big Summoner down in the 1v1 matchup with Jarvan towards the top side and doing Rift Herald.
I don't know what BLG can do up top side now.
Yeah.
ADD's far too much in a hole. Doesn't have teleport, so he can't actually just base and TP up with full HP. We're going to have to see what XinMo could do now he's adding his help in the mix.
Remember, Huanggai moved up here as well, so you've got a 3v3 brewing. Haro doesn't need to put the Rift Herald up here for now. Can actually force mid as BLG have made the rotation themselves.
All right, where's the dining room table? Where are we setting the dishes down? Because we need some turret plates. Where are we going?
I feel like you get takeout from this top lane. Holder doesn't have ultimate. There's no flash available. If Meteor finds the explosive cast, then it's dinner for ADD.
It's actually Rogue Warriors that are grouping around mid lane. So I love the fact that Holder is playing it back a little bit. He doesn't want to be caught by any means. Recognizes how far forward that the Kennen is playing, especially without flash. with how far behind he was.
XinMo,
Getting caught out.
Yeah, caught rotating the blast cone to save his life, but the Glacial Fissure used while BLG, top lane players there. Now Holder was playing respectively, but Meteor's going to force it anyway. Underneath already goes Golden as he sends out these poison cards. The on-hit cannon is trying to take it, but Holder survives for so damn long. Turret shot gets him, and that was almost a 2-for-1. Holder played that well.
He did, but we have to keep going now.
Yep, tempo's up and available for Rogue Warriors this time. Underneath turret, give them the gold, and the push is going to be stronger here from RW.
This is such a good first 10 minutes from Rogue Warriors.
Yeah.
Even better from Holder, the fact that where we sending that ultimate. Where's it going?
Top, follow it. Let's go. Yeah,
All right.
okay.
That's all right. That was average.
We're back to pod. And
but we're in
turret.
such a great spot right now.
Yeah.
I mean, not only is Jinx incredibly good at being able to split sides of the map because of her movement or attack speed that she has innately, but Holder just outplayed that 2v1. Even pulled the stopwatch out of Meteor. So this is the type of play that you want to be able to see out of Rogue Warriors both individually and just across the map. So they're able to get so much here.
Fitting of what I called their dream run, especially since I relate this team at the moment to DMO. That they need every single win on the board, and starting game one off like this is a great way to go, especially for Holder.
I love the fact that he was able to get the first knock up and initial damage, even holding down Meteor with his own W. So he made it so he was tanking out turret aggro immediately, and then turned on ADD when he knew that essentially turret aggro had changed hands. So he forced BLG to play as optimally as they could. They made it so they had to play it as well as possible, and there was technically a way out where BLG didn't have to die in this case, but they still lost out so much, and especially the life of Meteor since he went right back into the aggro.
Second time around, Meteor's first performance here. It just feels like Haro playing so much better this game around. And after that play, we saw the Ocean Dragon taken, an Infernal next up on the board here, so already the bottom side with the push turret, with the longer lane here for the Aatrox. Rogue Warriors have everything set up right with a mid lane as well. Yeah, that is still up in CS.
One of the few examples of teams that have rotating jungle rosters that's working. Like in the sense that there's a real fire underneath the jungler, that they are performing better when they do come into the roster. At times, it's definitely shown through OMG. It's done poorly. We'll see another good example here.
Spotted out on a ward, but Rogue Warriors are moving. Can they get there in time? Double TP, instant reaction as he will die, but for BLG, can they make the escape? The flash tangle buffs, they find one with the pop blossom in as well. A flash away from Meteor, but he finds the Jarvan on the back end while the Super Mega Death Rocket is available, but can they get out? BLG find one, they return fire heavily. Huanggai and HuaTian on top of Kuro as BLG find the exit in Haro. It's a fight on multiple fronts, but the Varus starts tapping away, letting the bow go, and BLG finally on the board.
Wow, and take a look at it too. They got the minion wave as well. They're not going to be rolling up with it, but just an immediate response from BLG. Feels bad when HuaTian couldn't even get nailed down the kill with his ultimate, so we'll definitely have to check back on how that was enacted, but that's now 2 kills there for the Bears.
Yeah, a lot of confidence here at first from BLG. Glad that pulled over.
I love the fact that BLG went all in and were able to just CC lock down Aatrox so he wasn't able to heal up anymore. But then you see Rogue Warriors trying to nail him down. Wasn't able to get the initial ultimate on top of ADD, so he gets out. And then Varus starts cashing out.
Yeah.
First kill off of that one, and then he's able to take down, I think, Haro here. Let's see if he gets the second kill. Pretty sure he does. So, biggest beneficiary from that entire fight is going to be Jinjiao. Gets double buffs too.
I mean, he was so confident going into it. Had the Blade of the Ruined King by the time that fight started. Now the recurve bow, and when you consider going into the rest of Rogue Warriors, Jinjiao, the biggest threat on Summoner's Rift here for BLG.
It's going to be tough for Rogue Warriors from this point forward.
Yeah.
Just because lane assignments coming through, Irelia's up in the top lane, it's going to be easier to hold her down. And then you're just going to have consistent pressure through Jinjiao and XinMo, straight through mid lane. It's going to be easier for Meteor to be able to get the vision control up top side. So before it was easy for the side of Rogue Warriors to get Haro unlocked. This time, just because of the lane assignments alone, it's going to be a little bit tougher.
And also because now Kuro in the top side here with vision clearance coming through is going to be spotted out with his jungler by side. Haro looking for XinMo once again, but Jinjiao is nearby. Meteor making the rotation as well.
Oh, I see there's an all-in happening here.
Vanguard's Edge was used actually onto Holder. He burnt the ultimate himself, but the BLG fancy going for another round.
Yeah, both ultimates being used is an interesting one. I think Holder loses out a little bit more because just of how much raw sustain it's able to provide for you. Movement speed as well, so
he's used that on cooldown though. Like
it does
so
have a
far
low
in this
cooldown.
game.
That's
Yeah.
a low cooldown too. But
True.
if we're just talking about small windows, he does have a small window to pick up a fight. And Aatrox wouldn't have ultimate to kind of help out there.
Maybe he wants to take something through mid because Rogue Warriors grouping up, defending the push from BLG. But it's simply a push, nothing more. BLG have slowed this pace down once again. They've got their side lanes working for them, and for Rogue Warriors looking for action.
It definitely helps BLG. They were looking for Trinity Force on Irelia
Yep.
and a Gwynsu's Rage Blade on Varus. Those are the two items that I think that they would be really comfortable to fight when they have. But they have a small window, because if we're talking about windows in between in which they then have to think twice about fighting is when Jinx gets her like rapid fire cannon. Runan's actually, I think she'd go towards Runan's.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So then it becomes difficult to pick a fight into a Jinx comp.
Haro's on a ward, by the way. So they knew it was her. Ult's going to come out. HuaTian. I think he's baited himself. Pop Blossom's there. Meteor doesn't want to get involved.
No.
Explosive cast goes golden from, but you know, he's dead. Good night. That was just a fun play.
I just loved looking at the minimap and seeing the team slowly converge on top of his head. Love the idea. Gonna be looking back at the VOD, a little bit sad.
But it's a chain effect. You get the kill. Rogue Warriors sure are looking for the mid lane turret, but with an Infernal Dragon and a potential collapse here from BLG.
Yeah, I think Rogue Warriors need to just get the hell out of there.
Yeah.
This is very risky for them, knowing how close BLG are next to him.
At least they got the Pixel Brush ward in the river, and at least Holder's still on this top side looking to get this turret, and he should have no problem, while ADD does the same down bot.
Remember red buff being spawning up right now for Rogue Warriors in the red side jungle, I think. Good thing that J4 is immediately on top of it, just because you would expect Kennen to get the full push out bot side, looking for some deep invade for a Vision ward. So these are small things that you kind of have to keep aware of, but there we go. At least we got a trade up top side.
Rogue Warriors need it right now. Still gold even though. And so when all is said and done, even though BLG feel like they have an innate advantage coming into this mid game, for Rogue Warriors they've kept up in gold. They've still got an incredibly fed Neeko in the mid lane and an Infinity Edge Jinx.
I just want to see what the Gragas can do going forward, because now he's able to get himself the Zhonya's Hourglass, and he works so well, as you've already seen twice now. Against HuaTian when he sets up for an ultimate, and against Tahm Kench. We haven't actually seen the Tahm Kench usage just yet, but like these are plays where he can just essentially mess up the entire play for Rogue Warriors when they're setting up for a major fight, which makes it hard for RWE to even get the Jinx rolling.
Yeah.
So we'll see what they end up going for here.
Interaction I always love is Jarvan going for Cataclysm or the flag and drag. You see that explosive cast or body bop to hit mid-channel. And something Meteor is capable of, something he's done many times in the past. Is for BLG now, Meteor has his Sonya's Hourglass, he's got his 2 items. He's converging around the mid lane where Rogue Warriors hovering towards that top side.
Good luck for both these teams, because this is when the game does get a lot slower. Both teams are entirely invested in mid lane shove, and for ZWuJi, yeah, he can wave clear for however long he wants. He's in a completely fine situation. Jinjiao, once again, same, and even if they get to that outer turret, you have the Braum that can always just throw up the shield until the wave is cleared up. So both teams are completely fine in being able to wave clear through mid. It's actually going to be in the side laners that dictate this flow of the game, where ADD should be able to heavily out-trade Holder before he throws in his ultimate, and that should mean the difference of a completely shoved out wave and, you know, added vision in enemy blue side jungle. These are points that we should be looking towards, but the sad thing about all of that is that all of that takes so long, requires so much, and then the dragon comes up and you're like, oh wait, we actually should have just been setting up vision for dragon next.
That's true. I like Rogue Warriors here though, moving into the enemy red side jungle. Holder got the shove up top lane. They push their vision in, and we talked a lot about BLG and how good they are with vision, but this game Rogue Warriors have shown us a really good control ward line up towards that top end and Baron.
I'm actually just surprised at how well Rogue Warriors are playing.
Yeah.
Because in their previous games, if they're doing well, it's because they're getting kills. Or they're looking for ganks consistently through Holder. This time around, this is just a far slower game pace. It's something where it's completely allowing Haro to be able to get his own leads. Where ordinarily they're like, no, actually come mid. Or come topside every time.
Yeah, you need help top at the very least. Holder's going to be sent away. The
No!
Aatrox goes into World End of Raz. He should still die, but the life steal is insane. People said nerf him again, and I see why. He's on the escape. Oh, body bomb, great dodge away.
Him, please.
Now, look, he's out of ultimate. Floor straight is good. He survived for a while. but not in the end.
Yeah, that wasn't anything to do with the champion being too strong. More so the fact that they just threw all their ultimates out there.
Yeah.
And the Irelia ultimate missed because of that.
Fair enough.
So that displacement on Gragas ultimate, you kind of have to line that one up well.
And we can look at what they used here with a couple of ultimates down, with a lot burnt here, even Kuro flashing in the previous play. BLG getting aggressed on still through the mid lane by the 2-item Jinx with a double zeal on the way.
All of that was possible because of the vision control up topside.
Yeah.
Like, double control wards in Tri-Bush and in that bush you can currently see on the top side of the map. There's nothing that Rogue Warriors can see up there. They need to actually start pushing up some, invisible vision. I'm not saying control wards because those can just be taken out quite easily.
Yep.
Just some trinkets. I think that's what we need to see a little bit more. And so thankfully Huanggai is in the mid lane. He needs to be working with Haro a little bit more.
At the very least, with the push through the mid lane that we've been talking about, Rogue Warriors have been able to control Pixel Brush, the side brush there with control wards, so it still is hard for BLG to go anywhere near the Baron pit to take away that vision line that keeps Rogue Warriors safe and that allows ZWuJi to stay in the mid lane unscathed.
Look, combat strength means everything.
That is also true.
And the fact that you look across the board, Kennen was heavily out-leveling in Holder. It's currently Meteor heavily out-leveling Haro. Across the board, they're actually in just a far better situation. And so I'm a lot more confident about BLG being able to pick up fights, not just because of the last fights, but also just how well they set up the side lane.
And I remember you also mentioning talking towards the Quinsu's Rage Blade for the Varus. Picked that up now as well. The Trinity Force on Irelia, the Phantom Dancer plus BF Sword for ADD.
Right.
And BLG XinMo might be caught out who has to flash away here, but Jinjiao, remember those 2 items, just change the corruption into the clone.
Feels bad.
That's a big feels bad, and BLG without a key ultimate to find the pick.
But if we're talking key ultimates, Haro without ultimate is pretty damn big, and they didn't get a kill for it.
Yeah.
A flash on a Braum, I don't give a damn about his flash. He actually has a great repositioning tool already in his W, so I wonder if BLG is going to be prepared for this one.
So the ult for ult trade with Meteor outside
Teleport
the pit.
coming
Rogue
through.
Warriors are going to try and find something. BLG off the back of this. They force Rogue Warriors out, but look at the Kennen. ADD in a big position, but he's on hit Kennen. He will not do the damage unless he finds his way to sneak into the backline. Haro is taking some of that now, but XinMo frontlining in front of the Dragons. The flash comes through. In position as well, but double golden opportunity. Rogue Warriors in the pit. The Baron, or Dragon, goes over to BLG. While they're getting chucked out the backline, they still jump in. They're using Kuro. He gets 2-man, 3-man falls to it, and the ult comes in to secure. BLG too far ahead, and Kuro with a sick quadra.
That was so beautifully set up by BLG. Kennen on the side just trying to buy up as much time as possible. You're right, double golden, so that was really well done from just the dual lane. Being able to hold as much time for the Irelia to just come in, get a great flank, and now it seems like it's going to be a Baron for the team. 3
people alive to take it. XinMo up in 5 seconds, Jinjiao in 10. This is where you say, yeah, we can play with time. The Super Mega Death Rocket's not available as well from ZWuJi, so no steal here. 3 seconds to wait. BLG, there's your AD carry, take the Baron. And they've got a 5k gold lead to go with it.
You were right when you were concerned about Kennen ultimate not being such a major deal in this fight, but how much poke damage he's putting down on towards Aatrox, he actually just completely zones him out of the fight to begin with. Kuro comes in, says perfect. Vanguard's edge, let's just get right into it. So from this point forward, he's actually already in a great position because of the cast that came out. Kennen being able to deal with the Aatrox, and so really well done from BLG. They had a lot of time to set up for that fight too, so execution came down to it.
It's hard for Rogue Warriors. How many ultimates do you have to look out for? Because each and every ulti sets up the play for BLG. And the Kennen you talked about in the back of the team fight, he autoed, and that was enough.
And so that was just well played by ADD to begin with. And also the fact that he didn't jump the gun, right? When he teleported in, Barry could have easily just went right on 4 people, died immediately, and then everyone could just, type lol or just be upset about the entire ordeal. But that didn't happen. ADD understood his role in this fight, and he was able to play it out well.
And if they fight like that again, he has an infinity edge now. So 3-item Kennen is big. And for ADD, when I say to a lot of people, this top laner hypes me up. I think he's one of the best in the league and is constantly growing and pushing himself. They don't trust my opinion, but you see games like this, you see the cleanliness of this top laner in game 1, and then you start to believe yourself. BLG might be in a bit of trouble here. Let's see if they can fish him out. Meteor, great ulti to separate him. Golden again as Haro's in the pit. There are so many stopwatches here as Holder wants to reset with the Puff Blossom. It's no one. The Vanguard's dead on just the edge of the fight as ADD has joined again. And Rogue Warriors are sent packing once more. This time give a triple to the AD carry. Kuro will take the rest. And BLG look magnificent.
Brother, it doesn't matter how well that fight starts for Rogue Warriors. If ZWuJi's at half HP at the beginning of it when Gragas just throws a cask at him.
Yeah.
He was dead before the fight even began, and suddenly Kennen can just walk right at him. This is a really dangerous time for Rogue Warriors. I think this is it.
They had such a good start to this game, but then you get to BLG territory. You enable Kuro. You enable that solo lane of ADD, and suddenly the imports coming into game one take it all and are one step away from securing their playoffs in summer.
2 team fights. That's what this game was about. The one around Dragon, and certainly just that last one that came up.
Yeah.
When the wave was in the area too. So that was just a one-hit kill. So well done from BLG to come back into the game and just execute. You mentioned the 2 imports. I mean, Kuro and ADD played out their roles exceptionally well. And whenever we have discussions about best top laners, yeah, look, ADD looks like the best top laner in some weeks and looks
Like
pretty
the worst.
average.
Yeah.
I'm not even going to say worse, but
Okay.
like he looks remarkably average in other weeks because of some weird decisions that he decides to make post laning phase. But this is the peak ADD that you came to see. Like, laning phase was great from him. Team fights was exceptional from him. This is BLG that plays together.
Yeah.
So the BLG you love to see.
Because in the early game, Meteor was forced back. It was a show about Haro. Remember
Yes.
the first 10, 15 minutes? That quickly turned after those 2 team fights you mentioned.
It's just great to be able to see how many times, you know, RW just tries to get a team fight in there, or like, you know, all they want to do is set up for the great Neeko ultimate,
Yeah.
get them low enough for...
And they were almost great.
Yeah, like they're almost there, but the problem is you look at the composition BLG has, and they were always batting them away. Either the Varus ultimate to keep them down packed, though one of them, you're right, didn't hit its target, or the Gragas ultimate that was always messing things up for HuaTian.
Yeah.
So it's actually so hard to be able to look at this game and kind of slap an MVP. As well as Meteor played, it was definitely a game where I would throw it to Kuro, actually. I think all of those 3 members at the top side of the map played their well exceptionally.
I agree. Kuro, ADD, but also let's come back to Meteor playing Gragas once again. This is a great pick, and whether he gets forced back early on or if he gets into the fights, his casts are just always so good. I mean, what did you say? ZWuJi was at half health before the fight even began because he pressed R.
Yep. And so suddenly, I don't think this composition is something going to be trying or at least throwing in. My problem isn't the composition. Let's just start out with this.
I think that's
for Rogue
fair.
Warriors. My problem is when they decided to pick those champions. Because if you pick Tahm, Kench, Jinx on your first rotation, not first rotation, but like literally top 2 rotations. So you pick Tahm, Kench first, second rotation, Jinx. It's like, oh, okay, we know what the what their comp is trying to do. We can literally run an anti-comp going up against that and recognize as long as we essentially burst them out before they, or like long range burst is a great example of that. Split push is another great example. They got both of those. And so it was really just Rogue Warriors hunting for mistakes when they got a great early game.
Yeah, really
And
good.
they weren't coming in their way.
And remember that, you know, you saw the Jarvan on top of that composition. You're like, ah, yes, even more so. That's an easy way to put it. And ADD going on hit didn't really surprise me in the end because I looked and went, okay, I see the interaction against the Aatrox, the lane, and what this is looking to achieve.
Yep. It's a good lane.
Very straightforward. Yeah, great. Good lane.
It's a very good lane. He went AD simply because Gragas had the AP. He was completely fine with that. Roll with AD. He was doing well in lane. So, like, if we're having ADD focusing on the laning phase, same going through with the mid lane as well. I mean, this is a great first 10 minutes you can consistently roll in with BLG, and so I want to see what Game 2 looks like.
That's the reason we say we like watching BLG. Rogue Warriors had a chance. See if they bring it back to Game 2. Otherwise, BLG will lock in playoffs here in 2-0 fashion. We'll be right back.
哎，这边一个一闪，但是最后一下普攻被这边马哥给收走。正面剑魔好像有点无敌了，直接配合队友砍死了对面2个人，还在追。这个位置卡牌没有闪现了，能不能跑？一个黄牌晕一下，哇，这个位置应该是要死了。
这个3个人蹲着草丛，刚好是没有红色方的视野的，蓝色方有个控制守卫。
这个波可能是要杀 Y4 这里可能有点难走，自己收一个闪现和大招，看一下这里能不能杀掉。
先交漫天飞雨，再接闪现，盲僧2段 Q 推过去，踢回来，但是后续的没有队友去跟上一个后续的输出了。盲僧看一下被 Meteor 吃掉，盲僧还想去找侠满，没有办法，侠直接送他走了。Rex 也阵亡，旁边左一无压力输出，再交一个简的闪现，只剩下一个弗兰朵，左一波 double 弗兰朵再吃后续的伤害 ，Triple Q 的左一。
这边塔姆率先倒地，直接被拍个大招斩杀，皇子一个大招又大到2人，直接秒杀1人，剩下司马老贼还在疯狂输出。 这边一个Neeko进场杀出4人，这个位置司马老贼能收割吗？司马老贼还在输出。
剩下一个卢锡安，卢锡安的位置也不是特别的好，那司马老贼完成了这一波的一个团灭。
后续还在跟输出，塔姆赶到战场非常的及时，但是 EZ 还是从旁边偷到了赵信虫，打了关心换一。
在这里的话是打了一波打野的互换，如果这边再死人是有可能被一波的，这里要小心一点，直接跳了上去，这里 Plex 有点危险，打出了一个春哥甲，但是明月桑这里是直接被阿修罗平 A 给收下了人头，下来之后这个 TP 是失了一个睡眠气泡，但是旁边没有关系，阿修罗又收掉了一个光辉的人头，一发平 A， 闪现躲一下飞心收掉一个3杀，再下来平 A， 再接平 A， 虽然被这边的一个 Y4 给收掉，但是只能精神等死啊。
Neeko 想过来抢进场了，但是位置并不是很好。Meteor已经率先被打残，虽然说也是一个开放球的皇子，一个 Tempo 对面盖住3个，要卖掉自己。皇子先行倒在地上 ，EZ 在屏幕的右侧疯狂的输出，要打一个 Wendy 看那个金身 ，EZ 调整了自己的位置，阿修罗在屏幕的正下方，他疯狂的输出，配合自己的前排 ，EZ 一波 double Q， 还在不能出击，一个 Y4 也跑不掉，一发引魔刀扛不住 ，EZ 一波 triple Q， 最后一个人在草里汇成，
闪现一技能，
哇！